Hello folks, welcome back. Time for 21 to 30, where things start opening up. Not as much as 51 plus, but we get access to a couple new commanders. The first one being Rage. I've already taken the liberty of putting mega potions on my thing. I switch them around, you know, like that, whenever I go into a new set. That's great to have. Now, don't forget to put Diurnal on. Dual hands. They are sound based. So if you do not move at all, or if you roleplay walk behind them, they will not detect you. However, one thing with all sound mobs, if you are standing in their path and they walk into you, they will aggro. So if one of them is gonna walk right into you, you might want to just slowly, and I mean slowly, walk out of their path. Otherwise, well, they'll aggro anyway. There's a lot of patrols this floor. That's 4 patrols we've seen now. I need to remember the one that went back the other way. Alright, if you're a melee job, Palace Drakes, you're gonna want to watch out for them. Smouldering Scales, quick cast, can be stunned, but you have to pretty much predict it, like get down the GCD rotation a bit and then do it just as it's about to go out. Well, not about to go out, but about to start casting. It's really tight. Same goes for Imps later. The problem with them is their spikes do a lot of damage. Even here, they can do like a quarter to 1/6 of your max HP. Something like that. They do hurt. They're only there for 5 seconds, but that's still more than enough time for them to really do some damage. If you're a spellcaster, of course, those spikes don't do anything. It's physical contact. So if you were to auto them as a spellcaster, yes, you would take damage. Turtles. They cannot be stunned. Can they be slapped though? Okay, they can be slapped. So casters do have an advantage when it comes to turtles. Or adamantoises. You can sleep them, but these guys cannot be stunned. So if you're a melee job, you're kind of out of luck there. You're gonna have to disengage for a second, or just sit there and tank the hit. Okay. Now, this set here is the final set in which bronze mimics can appear. Palace is a bit weird when compared to Heaven on High. For the first 50 floors here, they came out first. So they probably were just like, okay, we're gonna want them to see all the mimic types really quickly. To which point they only have one floor, well, one set that has silver mimics. That's the next set. those can still be stunned. Bronze mimics and silver mimics can be stunned and interrupted. Gold mimics can only be interrupted. And from 41 upwards, every mimic will be a gold mimic. It doesn't go back to bronze or silver. In Heaven on High, it's the first 30, I think, first 30 are bronze. The second 30, so up to floor 60, I believe, they are silver, and after that it's just gold. So it's a bit more balanced there. Here, like I said, yeah. This is a big floor. I'm gonna do this just for a bit of speed, so I don't have to go around and intuition. Hi. As you can see, that's a conal. I'm just gonna... I was gonna use the lust anyway. I thought I'd gotten hit by that, being perfectly honest. That's petrification. You get hit by that, you're dead. Compared to your normal damage, lust is more damage. So if you happen to get extra lusts, don't be afraid. I know I underutilized lust myself in the normal floors. We don't really need to take out them. Nothing. I do need to hit another intuition. But yeah, on this set and the ones above, you can start finding rage commanders. When it comes to commanders, Alteration will not spawn until set 11 to 20 plus. Rage is locked to 21 to 30 plus. Raising and Resolution, they were added when 51 plus was also added. You cannot find them until, well, Raising you can find, I believe, 51 to 60. You cannot find a Resolution until 61 plus. Yeah, I'm not gonna put him to sleep. Yeah, there's nothing else in this room. Right, let's go. We just did that for extra XP, really. Oh dear. That was kinda close. The last two videos on this were made the same day that, well, were uploaded the same day I recorded them. I intend to do 2 sets today, so 31 to 40, assuming we complete this, which, if we don't, then there's something terribly wrong. The next set should be up tomorrow. Oh, that's a lot of patrols. The next set should be up tomorrow after recording it. So that should be the 18th that goes up. You really had to reduce my already pitiful damage. Right, so we saw two coming out here, so that room's empty as a result. That is one thing to take note of. If you notice a patrol coming from a room at the start of a floor, you can generally assume that said room is going to have less enemies in it. If it's multiple, like two, yeah, the room can be empty. Sometimes there might be 3 enemies that spawn, sometimes 4. Any more than that, and it's probably a treasure room, the patrol probably spawned in that room after the floor start. Oh, there's another Dullahan. And you see what I mean about the roleplay walk there. Saw him in my way, or I saw that I was in his way, slowly walked out of it while fighting. With a controller you have to kind of gently push the stick. With PC, I don't think you have that kind of functionality. You'd have to toggle walk. Did I? I got out just in time. Okay, Palace Wyvers. Proximity based. These guys do a double attack. Namely, Horrid Horn, followed by an auto right after. I'm probably jinxing it, but we haven't been hit by a trap yet, I don't think. Serenity, that was the last commander I was struggling to remember. And I don't know why, because they're important. Serenities only start appearing on this set as well. So if you get any nasty debuffs on the lower floors, or the lower sets, no, you're stuck with that. I'm leaving anyway. For time, it's not a strict rule, but you generally want to try and keep the time on a floor to something reasonable, like... I saw him at the worst time. So like... 6 minutes, for example. Come on. I generally like to keep it to 5 minutes myself, so 10 minutes for the boss, but if you go for 6 minutes you can try and, you know, make up the time later. Like, if you're low on time, use a rage. Something to keep note is how long it takes a boss to kill, you know, how long it takes to kill a boss rather, under certain conditions. So say I was to go into this boss with a strength and steel up. Gloom. Okay. If I was to go into a boss with a strength and steel up, it might be a good idea to take note how long it took, so that I know how much time I have on the rest of the set, and and I don't know how long the later bosses took. 150 I know took more than a full strength and steel. 160 it didn't, but that was because I used multiple lust. So I can kind of gauge there, but I know basically that, yeah. Those bosses gonna take a bit of work. Anyway, yeah. Gloom, damage reduction on the enemy, damage dealt increase on the enemy, and they have permanent sprint. That's one thing I never noticed about Gloom. Ugh. That's one thing I never noticed about Gloom until I started doing solos. The enemies have sprint. There's our first rage. This is probably a small floor, so I likely need to take you out. There we go, there's Bull. Magic in Ment 2, so we should be doing more damage now. Should be more bearable. Yeah, small floor. We needed to kill him. Come on. That's a dignity. I probably should have just exited. Are you a mimic? No, you're not. Oh, Minotaur. Minotaurs, if I recall, can be stunned. So if you're a melee, you don't need to disengage. And naturally they act like any Cyclops enemy, just without the eye attacks. Pretty sure they can be slapped? Yes. Yeah, we'll do this. Spriggans are casters, but they will run to catch up to you. Oh, that's nasty game. They will cast haste on themselves. They also hurt if they crit. If you're going for any kind of score, you generally want to uncover all the rooms. But even if you're just going for the clear, you probably want to explore all the rooms anyway, for as many coffers as you can get. The only exception to that rule would be if you're running low on time. And if you have the pomanders to justify skipping it. So like if you're maxed out on every pomander, you might consider actually just skipping a room with coffers. but you generally have to have a good reason for skipping out on rooms, chests, that kind of stuff. Because if you don't pick up coffers, you're not gonna clear. Serenity. I'm taking a risk here. Probably our first trap. And go back the exact way I came. Just so I'm not capped, we've already got 3 Serenities. Our strength is just about to wear off as well. Well, it's been good doing damage. We're back to the slog. Yeah, we can do that. Scatanes. They are also sound based. Now, you do not want to run from them. If you see chirp and you're afraid you can't take it out before it goes off, just do not run. They will auto you, they will wake you up. Okay, we're a bit low on the old levels. We should... Oh, no, don't take it out. If we'd taken it out and he'd still managed to get it off, we'd have been in a bit of an annoying situation. Where we'd be asleep and we'd have no one to wake us. You can as soon asleep, but not if you yourself are asleep. Sleep does have diminishing returns, though. Right. I'm just gonna... I had a card already, why did I do that? Right. Palace Centaurs, they are proximity based. They'll do Berserk, which increases their damage, and then they'll do Rear. Easy to avoid. I'll take out a Spriggan or two to level up before handling that effigy. Or effigy. We're ahead on time. If you're taking the advice on taking out everything you see, even these early floors are going to be a bit iffy with time. With AST's lower cast time on Malefic, it does give you an advantage where you can risk another cast before a skill goes out. So like, I could do a cast there and slide out the way, whereas another job might have been at greater risk doing that. So AST does have some uptime shenanigans with cast times, but it only really minorly affects its damage output, if anything. Like, you get an extra cast in before you have to move, but it barely helps the pitiful damage. I mean, I mentioned before, AST's damage could still be 2 minutes behind Scholar in Heaven on High for some bosses. So take of that as you will. For this video and next, this is gonna be our life. Fighting everything. Because sadly we do have to level. So we have a safety and a sight that we can use. That's good to know. Okay, this isn't even the exit. One thing I should probably mention: respawns. On the very early sets, like 1 to 10, 11 to 20, respawns are pretty quick. The higher you go, generally, the longer respawns take. Because enemies are tankier. If they respawned every 5 seconds, you wouldn't get anywhere. Now, if you're doing it as a party of 4, obviously that's gonna change because you've got 4 times the damage. Enemies will just fall over for the most part. But if it was solo, the floors would get really crowded and, well, you'd just hate your life. And in the last video I mentioned about treasure rooms. Speaking of crowded, there is nothing worse, unless you're in Heaven on High, than getting a treasure room on an exit room. On my second astrologian run, that happened. On floors 91 to 100. We'll come back for that. But yeah, that happened on 91 to 100. 3 times. Back to back. Time wasn't exactly an issue, but it would have been if I'd taken the time to clear out all 3 treasure rooms. So at the end of the day, I did have to rage to clear them out, so I could get to the exit in good time. $30 remaining. We're still way ahead of time. But this is what I'm meaning when I said, you know, I would have to record the intro and then edit that onto the actual set. Because, come on. Because, like I said, the set can actually take close to an hour. No. Yeah, we got this, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the witching. Come here. Witching. We got the worst of them. There's 3 different forms that a witching commander can force an enemy to take. The best of them is the frog. That will reduce their damage to single digits at this point, double digits later, when you've got tens of thousands of HP. The next best is chicken, which is around 50 to 60 to 70%, something like that. Either way, it's the second best you can get. Imp is the worst, because they'll still be doing full damage to you. Come on. Come on. And we're out. But that's the general gist of what witching does. And it's a radius around you. I forgot to even use a safety or sight last floor. One thing that you might want to use a witching for if you really don't want to waste a purity. If you're sure you can take out a mimic in the 30 seconds plus 10 after it turns back, and you really don't want to use a purity, like you're only sitting on 1 like me, then you can consider using a witching to stop the pox. But as a healer, you do have more options. If you're early on in the set, early enough so that the boss won't come up in the next 10 minutes, you can consider fighting through the pox. Again, time permitting. If pox is a really big detriment on the boss and you're needing to wait, if you've got enough time, wait for it. If not, purity. But you don't want to just use purities willy-nilly. You don't know if you'll actually get another one, you know, for the next set. Even if, say, I started a floor Mimic right away, ate a purity, and he dropped me a... Yeah. If he poxed me right at the start of the floor, and there was a purity in the coffer that he dropped, I wouldn't use the purity right away. I would use it at the end of the floor, if anything. Because if there's multiple mimics on the floor, having to eat a second purity would suck. That's what I'm meaning. If he gets it off and then you get your attack off just before sleep applies, that sucks. So, but yeah, with Purity you can heal through it as a healer. You've got a few different options. The one thing is, Pox does reduce your damage dealt. And I think it also increases damage taken. I'd have to get Pox just to double check, because it's been a bit. It also applies a small damage over time and disables any auto health regeneration. But yeah, the damage dealt down is a big deal if you're on the likes of Astrologian, because you already deal shit for damage anyway. I've had it to the point where had Pox, was fighting through it, damage dealt down, debuff, no strength up, things were taking forever. I had to use a strength to fight through the floor. Because it was insufferable. And I realised I never went over Mariliths. They are proximity based, just like the centaurs. So if they are standing, if one was right here, you'd have to fight it. There's no sneaking around it. I just heard a respawn. Is there a coffer in here? Yes, there is. I'm pretty sure he'll see me. The dot is now a lot more useful because it's 30 seconds, meaning you don't have to apply it every 18 seconds. Honestly, I kinda wish if they wanted a lower potency dot or something, that they wouldn't have it every 18 seconds you have to reapply it, that they would just lower the potency and make it a flat 30 seconds. Because having to remember to do it on a timer that... So my cards are 30 seconds. I can apply a dot and then do a card, and then as soon as the next card comes up, I know I have to put a dot on. If it's every 18 seconds, I'm not going to notice it falling off. I wish they would kind of stabilise the dot timings, but lower the potency if they don't want it to be as good early on. Anyway, auto heal disabled. As a healer, you can laugh in that face. You know, the face of that debuff. It's not even a debuff. It's just Pox. In that you don't heal automatically. You've got free healing. Shouldn't ever worry about that. Ah, shite. Yeah, they came from back there. There's not another room here. I do want to take out that patrol. Generally by the end of this set, you should be 49 to 50. If you haven't been skipping enemies. If you can hit 50 before the boss, that's great. You can increase your damage, but as we are just now, we're not hitting 50 before the boss. Is this the exit? Yes, it is. A witching. I would at least like to be 48 before the boss. And we need to open up the exit anyway. There's nothing special at 48. Just, I'd be a closer level to the boss. Another witching. With all my talking, again, I forgot to actually use a safety or sight. Another Marilith spawned. These rocks you can jump on in these sets. Once you hit... might as well. Once you hit 51 plus, well, you won't see this set again until... this tile set again until 111 plus. Once you reach there, you cannot jump on the rocks again. They block them off. I probably could have strength and steeled that last floor there. Fireball, Ice Ball, you want to keep them out of the middle. Fear itself, you want to get in the middle. In its hitbox. And once that's done, get out. I'm just gonna do a pot. Just because I can, really. And boss down. Next time we'll be picking up with floors 31 to 40, the final set where we should be taking out everything, ideally. See you all then.